Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Techopolis 2. I am trying no F5 intro, just to see what happens. Anyway, as you can see, we have a whole bunch of building that has happened in between episodes. We have a new floor that is prepared for Applied Energistics autocrafting, but before we get into that, I want to just get the elephant out of the room. I promised a live stream yesterday in the video, but it didn't happen. Because I was very busy this morning. There has been a lot of floods around Slovenia, and I was driving around picking up some clothes and some air dehumidifiers, I think would be called, things that suck out moisture out of the air to help people. And I took those to my sister, which she took to a place where someone's house has been flooded, like the entire bottom floor has been flooded, which is very, very sad, but at least I tried to do my part and help a little bit. Alrighty, let's get to Applied Energistics autocrafting. It consists of two parts. One, you need your crafting storage, which is this. This is a 256k crafting storage block, and then we also have crafting co-processing units, which means that this crafting storage can do 3 crafts at the same time. So for example, if you would try to craft a repeater, the repeater requires stone, which is just a block that you have in your system, redstone as well, but the redstone torch is a craft of a stick and a redstone dust. So for example, if you would request 100 redstone repeaters, it would have to craft 200 redstone torches and then craft them into repeaters. And if you had just a crafting storage, it would craft all of the torches and then all of the repeaters. But with the crafting co-processing units, it can craft the torches as well and the repeaters at the same time. And the block to store your recipes that you set up for autocrafting is now called an ME pattern provider. Before it was the ME interface, which is still a thing. The ME interface can interact with different blocks and items can be inputted, requested from it and stuff like that. But the ME pattern provider just has a 9-slot inventory for patterns, and that is pretty much it. It all shows up on the pattern terminal once we hook it up to the system, but I kind of prepared 4 slots here and then 4 slots there, and then 5 slots here on this side, 4 for kind of like a smaller storage, and then 1 giant storage here in the middle. If we request a big recipe, it's gonna try and use this big storage, which has 3 256k crafting storages, and we're gonna craft more once we set up auto crafting. I just want to get it hooked up, and then we can just auto craft everything through Applied Energistics, and it's gonna make our lives much easier. So now we need to set up 3 more of these guys over here. We're just gonna go like this for the pattern terminals. And then we alternate molecular assemblers, which are basically the crafters. These guys are gonna take the items, craft it into the block required, and then drop it off into the storage system. As far as connections with the cables go, each one of these is gonna take 8 channels. So that's gonna be a total of 32 channels, which is 1 P2P tunnel. So I hooked everything up with a smart cable here, hooked it up with a dense cable in the middle, and then we can just memory card this with a new color, and we go here to the yellow line, which I don't think has any. It has something, but that's unlinked, right? Yeah, so we can just override that one. That should be fine. And there we go. We should have 32 channels here on this line, and there we go. Everything is hooked in. So if we come over here now, we should see 32 molecular assemblers that we can put in patterns. I think for the moment, we're gonna go with 4 smaller crafting storages, which is gonna allow us to craft 4 different things at the same time. And to hook it up, we're just gonna run some smart cable down here. This over here is gonna take 5 channels, so we don't have to worry about anything. We can just put a single P2P tunnel somewhere in front of this cable here, probably like so. And then just hook everything up together and get it working. To add new recipes to the system, we need to use this pattern encoding terminal, and you have to craft blank patterns and then put them right in here. And for example, a cool recipe to do right in the beginning is a blank pattern recipe, which requires a Certus quartz crystal, some glowstone, and some quartz glass. And I think we're gonna disable click to prevent alternate items in the recipe. So it's gonna have to use Certus quartz, because this recipe can also, I believe, use charged Certus quartz, which we kind of don't want. So we want just Certus quartz crystals, and we'll encode this. And we're also gonna encode a recipe for quartz glass. And then we can toss it in here. And now if we want patterns, we can say craft, make us like 50, not 1050, 50. And it's missing Certus quartz dust, so we need to automate that fairly quickly here. Our Certus quartz dust is automated right over here. It's super easy. We just export Certus quartz crystals with a crafting card in an export bus. So it automatically turns nether quartz into Certus quartz, and then the pulverizer just crushes it into the Certus quartz dust. And this thing is not a recipe by default in the pack. You have to use the crusher to make Certus quartz dust. Again, no reason why we shouldn't be able to use regular pulverizers for this, because thermal is so much easier to automate and I don't have to use XNet everywhere if I want to have everything nicely set up like I do over here. So as soon as we don't have a recipe for a specific thing that can be normally made in the pulverizer, I'm just going to be adding recipes because it's my world and I can do what I want, all right? But basically, with Mekanism, we're going to automate the whole process of making the enriched stuff and then turning it into all of the alloys, all of these guys. I understand I have to use Mekanism for these, which are specific Mekanism items, but something that can be done in the pulverizer in any other pack ever should be done in the pulverizer as well. So I don't know why some of the things are just limited to Mekanism. It's weird they are. I guess it forces you to automate Mekanism and think differently, but I think you should at least have the option of doing either or. The next item that we want to autocraft is Fluix crystals. And as you can see, we have more than 2000. And if I grab a couple stacks here, we see redstone, Certus quartz, and nether quartz being dropped in. It makes some Fluix crystals and then it gets imported and we're kind of done. We're over 2000. So that is really cool. And the way this works is in the back here, we have an ME formation plane, which is set to nether quartz, redstone, and charred Certus. And this has to be hooked into power, but not to our storage system. So basically this interface and this formation plane is not really a part of our main storage system. It is just getting some power from this quartz fiber over here. And basically what happens is, as soon as this export bus drops some charred Certus, redstone, and nether quartz in this interface, the formation plane will drop it in the world. You can set it over here. The blocks will be dropped as an item, or the blocks will be placed as a block. So basically, it will drop the nether quartz, the redstone, and the charred Certus as soon as they are exported out of this export bus into the interface. And we control that via this level limiter to set it to 2000. And for example, we'll set it to 5000 right here. And if we come back over on the side, we should see everything being turned into Fluix crystals. So we get a little bit of redstone, charred Certus, and a little bit of nether quartz. And then we make Fluix crystals. They are collected by this accumulator here. And then there is an import bus right here on the back. And because we have a priority of very, very low here on our storage disk, on our ME drive, we have our priority set to -1000. It means that everything will go into this storage drawer, which is on a storage bus that is set to priority 0. I added a processing in the pulverizer for Fluix crystals to Fluix dust, and I have it set to 500 in the system, and I think we're gonna increase it a little bit. We're gonna say, let's say 1000. I think that should be plenty. There we go. And one problem that we ran into with the Fluix crystals over here, because it exports 3 different items, it can stop in the middle of exporting 1 or 2 sets of items and it doesn't export the 3rd one. So it means that we have a bit of nether quartz or a bit of redstone or a bit of charred Certus stuck in the water here, not doing anything. And I could just leave it be. It's gonna despawn in 5 minutes and we don't worry about it at all. It's like 8 nether quartz or something. So it's really not, that doesn't matter. But you know me, I like to take care of things and not leave trash on the floor pretty much. So back here, I added another vacuumulator and another level emitter. And this emits a redstone signal when the levels are above the amount that we want to keep in the system, which is 2000. So this is on and collecting redstone, charred Certus, and nether quartz. So as soon as we hit the threshold of over 2000 Fluix crystals, it's going to pick up the junk that's left here and here in the water. And that way, we just leave it nice and clean and working beautifully. As you can probably also tell, we have a bit of a wireless universal terminal. And this is a combination of 3 different terminals. We have a crafting terminal, a pattern access, and a pattern encoding terminal. So we kind of don't really need that in the middle. It's still going to be there for when we're next to it and we can use it, but most of the time we're just going to be using our wireless terminals. And the cool part, there's a magnet card, which is basically like a magnet. You can set it to pick up to your inventory to the applied Energistics system, or it can be off. So I have it set to pick up to the inventory, so it works like a magnet. And also there's a filter. So I'm filtering Fluix, nether quartz, charred certus, and redstone. So every time I'm around here, I don't pick it up with the magnet, which is wonderful. And Applied Energistics has added new things. We can click here to open the next terminal. So if I click, I get access to our pattern encoding terminal. And if I click again, I get access to our pattern access terminal. So I can see all of our patterns in here. And then I click again, and I'm back on our regular crafting terminal. To have wireless access, you need 2 things. One is a wireless access point, and I have 16 boosters in here, so it has a range of 80 meters, which is enough to cover the entirety of the base here. I don't know, I didn't go all the way back there to the miners. We're gonna see if it covers to there. Probably not. We can add more boosters if we need to. And also a security terminal. You have to toss in your terminal here to link it up to your network, so it actually works and you can see everything inside. I also did a live stream where we set up all of this. You can see we have nice split up crafting for everything, and everything gets set to 10k. So we have 10k bronze, 10k invar, 10k steel, and 17k electrum, because before we had the redstone control, I may have left the lever on a little bit too long, but we're gonna use up electrum at some point anyway. Here on this side, we have Constantin, and apparently it made 37,000. Why? Oh, it might have been on. Why were you on? It was just on apparently at some point, but I have it set to 2,000. Well, we used up a lot of nickel and a lot of copper, which is fine. The most important change is here in the back. You can see we have only applied Energistics cable and nothing else, and a whole bunch of drawer trim all around the place. So a viewer in the stream gave me a cool idea to use P2P tunnels for power. So down below, here at our power setup, we have our main P2P tunnel for energy, which is outputting from this energy cell here in the middle. And this is just linked to the system, right? And over here, we have the outputs of all of those P2P tunnels, and these are providing power to all of our smelters and pulverizers. And because each one takes 1 channel, I had to conserve channels somehow. And you can see we no longer have storage buses on each of the drawers down below. We basically have a drawer controller right here, and everything on the bottom that isn't a drawer is drawer trim. So it's framed trim and then spruce trim in the middle. So we have a line going around in a circle. And this one drawer controller doesn't reach all the way around, so I added another one over here on this side. And on top here, we have 1 export bus exporting 9 ores over here. And then on the other side, we have it exporting the 10th ore that we're using and a bunch of the ingots. Because a lot of the alloys use duplicate ingots, for example, iron is used here, and nickel is used there and here, and copper is used here and there. It basically means that we don't need a total of what would be like 2, 4, 6, 8, 12 ingots. We just need a total of like 7 or 8. And one thing that I really think that we should do is one of these ores is going to move to that side over there, because then it's going to be nice and colored. So basically 3 ores here, 3 ores there, and we can add another alloy of something over here. The real big thing that I have to do is I have to go around all of these and change everything to P2P tunnels and change everything to storage buses. So I think I will do more live streams where we do this, because it's going to be super nice to do it while chatting on the live stream. And we're going to do it here as well, where we're currently setting up new machines, but we're just going to do it once we get to it basically. And a lot of these machines we're going to have to figure out. These I think can just have power from the flux point because we send it through XNet anyway. We don't really need to use P2P tunnels over here, but maybe we'll switch it up to applied Energistics. I don't know. Probably not though, because we have these split blocks and it's just gonna make it feel wonky, I think. I decided to move signalum ingots over here on this side because it will look cooler if we set up all of the alloys that require 3 inputs over here on one side, and we have alloys for 2 inputs on this side. So let's add lumium and enderium next. And there we go. That is enderium automated. I have it set to 10,000 Enderium, which is going to take a while to get to, but it's going to work slowly but surely. I have some augments in here to make it a little bit faster at least, but the setup is exactly the same. We're using XNet over here, and we have just a power channel and then a redstone channel. So we sensor the Enderium, and on the green color, we set an output to this guy, which is the Enderium processor. You can see it like so. As far as the exports for the item, I think we're gonna need 2 export buses here, and I still have to reset up these guys. So we're gonna do 1, 2, 3 of these and add them over here, like so. For Enderium, we also need diamond dust, and I had it automated way over here by the diamonds, but I have since removed it, and I just added it over here on this side. Because we're processing like one item with one machine, we can turn diamonds into diamond dust with just a simple pulverizer. So that is set up the exact same way that all of the other machines are set up. And as far as Lumium goes, we need advanced Technium ingots for Lumium ingots. We need a proper spot where we're gonna automate Technium ingots. And I think we can finish off this floor and then add a floor on top of this one. I finished off the crafting floor, so we now have 10 crafting storages and 4 sets of 8 crafters, basically. So in here we have 64 molecular assemblers, all accelerated with 5 acceleration cards. So those can do all of the crafts for us, which is really cool. And then as far as the crafting CPUs go, we have the 256Ks, and we have 8 of them. And then 2 of them are the 2048K, which is 2 million storage, and 8 coprocessors. So these guys will take on big crafting tasks, and these are just for smaller tasks. And they have plenty of storage for what we need. I did another live stream, and in that live stream, we set up a quantum ring, and this is basically the wireless transfer of channels for Applied Energistics. And basically what we do is we have a dense cable sending 32 channels into the quantum ring, and then I'm using this white P2P tunnel downstairs below where we have the quantum ring. So if we jump down, over here is our quantum ring. So we don't have to run the cable that we were running from the storage here. We were running, I believe, this dense cable through here, through the side and going down, and we no longer have to do that because the quantum ring does it for us, which is really cool. So down here, we actually have to change all of this cable to white cable, and I kind of don't want to disconnect things. So let's get a coloring thing from Applied Energistics. I forget how it's called. It is called a color applicator, and for this one, it requires power, and then we also need some of these matter balls, these guys, paintballs. And to get those, we need to take our matter condenser that we used for Applied Energistics quantum rings to get the singularities. You can see it in action here. So this guy, if we take a storage part or component, I think, yeah, we have the 256K, we can toss it in here. And we can say destroy items, condense into matter balls, and condense into singularities. So we can do the matter balls now. And we're gonna grab our transporter and toss it here. And this should make these super quickly. Yeah, decently quickly. Okay, so I need to wait for, I believe, 8 of these. And what we can do is we can just speedy this up. And I don't know if these stack to more than 64, they do not. Okay, so we'll sit here for a little bit. And now we need to craft these into white paintballs. And I think I then just shift right click this. Or do I combine it like this? Oh no, you use an ME chest, right? I think so. Yeah, we take an ME chest. And we need this to be hooked into the system where we have some sort of channels. I think we can just do it right here. This should work. And we toss this in here. And then we can open it up and toss in the paintballs. Show stored items, please. Okay. So now if we take this out, we should have a white color. And then you can scroll wheel to color different things. But what we can just do is then this. And we don't have to get rid of the cable link. So we can just color it specifically here. Which is really neat. There we go. That was exactly 64 cable. Okay, cool. So the other thing that I want to do, since we now have white cables down here, we need to switch them up to different P2P tunnels. Because currently we're using this guy as the blue one. So I have to figure out which ones I linked downstairs. We need to find out the frequencies and then we can switch them over to a different P2P tunnel. Another thing that we did in the live stream, we colored all of this over here on this side, and I kind of redid all of this over here, so it's looking a lot cleaner and a lot nicer and a little less messy. Plus, I forgot that we still need to put facades in the back, but basically what I did is we have a separate controller for each one of these systems. So basically one controller for the silicon, one controller for the engineering, the logic, the calculation, and the charge Certus. So basically it's so much easier to explain this now, because for the silicon, we just need to extract the silicon, insert it into the inscribers. The inscriber processes it, we extract it and put it into the printed silicon drawer. As far as these ones here are concerned, it's a little bit more complicated, but it's not that much. If we go from the left-hand side to the right, we basically extract the diamonds from the drawer and insert them into the proper inscriber, which then makes it into the printed engineering circuit, and then we extract it and put it into the correct drawer. And then we extract that, put it back into the inscriber on the up slot. We also extract the redstone and put it in the north slot, which is the middle slot of the inscriber. And then we also extract the printed silicon and insert it into the down slot of the inscriber to then make the engineering circuit or processor. And then we extract it and put it into the drawer. So if we explain it over here again, we take the diamond, put it in here. It makes the printed engineering circuit. And then the circuit gets extracted into here. And then we extract the circuit and the redstone and the printed silicon and make it into the engineering processor. And the whole system is stopped by this extract, only allowing 500 on the insert. So we make 500 of these. And if we, let's say, extract a little bit, it's going to start making more. And you can see it's draining and making more. Cool. And then the logic and the calculation are exactly copies of the diamond ones. So the charged one is an exact copy of the printed silicon, pretty much. We extract and insert into the chargers instead of the inscribers, and then we extract out. And on the insert, we have it set, I believe, to 10K. So we always store 10,000 charged Certus. And right now, we're not, because we don't have any... big thing that we're missing here. Instead of this guy, we need a crafting card. And now we should be able to extract this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. Let's conduct an experiment together. The advanced auto crafting table can pull from inventories above it. Can it do a drawer controller? And then we can store all the items in the drawer controller. So over here, if we take this and we shift right click a recipe and then shift right click to select it. Yeah, it works. Awesome. Okay, that's going to be super easy to automate. All right, nice. Cool. I love it. And then we can put a basic Technium on the bottom. We can put covers, facades. We can use XNet in the back or something. But that's going to work. I don't think that this auto outputs on the bottom, but I'm going to wait for this to finish the crafting. I set up a crafting recipe for treated wood planks. And if I select just the one, it can do it. But if I selected more than that, it couldn't do it. Hold on. We're at 10,292. And if I craft a set, it's going to do 3,300. Ooh. Hold on. Let's remove this. I want to test. Let's remove this. And let's go up top where we have our Technium automation. And here we should have a crafting card, right? Yeah. If I take this out, do you make me more treated wood planks? Do. Okay. We don't need the automation for it then. Even though it's a little bit slow, but I don't think we're going to need that many, to be honest. Plus we can put it in a requester to make like 1,000. Okay, so that works. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to toss these 10K into the storage system and then it's going to use them up. Okay, cool. All right. I thought it was not going to work, but apparently it does. So we don't need this here. And we don't need automation for the treated wood planks with a sequential fabricator. I think that solves our issues that I was having. Cool. We now have basic Technium ingot auto crafting. Everything should eventually fill up here, because the importer is going to go with round robin around anyway, so it's going to just fill up everything as is. And for now, it's going to craft 64 basic Technium. We're going to take care of the extraction of the Technium ingots in a moment, but I still need to fix up the creosote and treated wood thing that I had here. I don't have this fully set up, so we need to fix it up a little bit. And there we go. That's our creosote, oil, and lava bottles problems solved yet again. But basically, we're just extracting the creosote in the back of the pyrolyzer, and we're inserting it into the fluid cell with a priority of 1, and then with a priority of 0, we're inserting it into the trash can. So this should start filling up as we're making more coal coke. Yeah, you can see it's going up to 209 and 250 more. Okay. And I don't think we should run into a problem of running out of creosote oil. We currently have 10k treated wood in the system, and we're going to be using up coal coke faster than the treated wood. So before we run out of the 10k treated wood that we need to craft more, we're going to be getting a net gain of creosote oil. So I don't think we need a special system to turn this guy on when we run out of creosote oil. If that does become a problem, we can fix it when it happens, basically. We here have a level emitter for 20k coal coke, and that is controlling the pyrolyzer. And then as far as the lava bottles, we just extract the lava out of the lava fluid cell and insert it into here. And currently the lava is not being exported. Let's do round robin here. We should be seeing lava in here as well. Should we not? Ooh, maybe I have to do inputs. Yeah, that... What am I thinking? I facepalmed so hard. I'm extracting lava in a drawer controller and expecting the fluid cell to understand it's next to a drawer controller. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. So we need a little bit of a cable like this and an export bus with some lava here on top. Like that, and some acceleration cards will do. Now we have lava in the fluid cell. Cool. Oh, that was a facepalm moment, really. The redstone control is right over here with the lava bottles for it to 10k. I had it for 1k before, but let's just make 10k just to be safe. Ooh, you might need an upgrade. Because we're out of elite technium, we have to resort to laser IO for extraction out of these guys. And since over here it's a very simple setup, we don't need to do a whole bunch of card management and everything. We just have an extract card here on the north side. And if I control right click, we can see it's just set to extract. Everything is on default. And that is extracting the basic technium ingots into the drawer here. And then over here on the north side, we have an item card for an insert. And if we control right click, it's set to 500 basic technium ingot with a counting filter. So this will just store 500 basic technium inside of the framed drawer here. And when that is done, it's just going to stop. So then it's not going to start extracting anymore. And this guy will have 64 basic technium always in here as kind of like a backup, but we're going to have 500 in the system, nice and neatly stored up. Now, the only thing that we need to add is a storage bus, and that's going to go down here and then just hook in like so. And we can add a facade right here up front to cover it up. And there we go. Everything is nice and organized. The only thing that I would like is with XNet, I can cover this up with a facade, and with Laser IO, I can't because there's no facades. So once we get to Elite Technium, we're going to put it with XNet, and we're just going to cover it with a facade because I don't like seeing the back end of the room inside. It really bothers me. Now that we have basic technium automated, we can move on to the elite technium ingots, and I set up everything over here. We have everything being exported, but we need to autocraft 2 more items. One is the aluminum sheet metal, which we can autocraft directly from the applied Energistics system. We just need to make aluminum plates, and we're going to do that with the multi-servo press. And also we need some steel gears, which we can also do with a multi-servo press. So we need somewhere a spot where we're going to use some multi-servo presses to make plates and gears. I went through JEI and I found that we need aluminum plates, lead plates, and uranium plates always on stock because all of those sheet metals, these guys are used in the autocrafting of technium ingots. And then as far as the gears go, we need the steel gears and also electrum gears. And I have all of these set to 1000, so once they do that, they will stop. And over here, we have 2 multi-servo presses. One is going to be for gears, one is going to be for plates, and then we just have pattern providers, and apparently the devices are offline because I didn't connect them up with cabling properly. So we need to do something like this, and then we can get rid of the cable in the middle. There we go. So basically, what we have is the multi-servo press set to auto input and auto output and a bunch of recipes for plates. So if we, for example, need a plate that we don't have, let's say we need not a lumium plate because we don't have lumium, but let's say we need 10 constantum plates. We can set start. This guy's going to get 10 constantum ingots. It's going to return it into the inventory and it's crafting constantum plates. And this guy is doing the same for gears, but for gears we have a whole bunch of gear recipes because we're going to need a whole bunch of different gears as well. And up here, as you can see, we're auto-crafting advanced technium ingots. Currently the bottleneck is aluminum plates, but once we get a few more upgrades in terms of thermal machines, we can increase the speed at which this guy produces plates. We could even, just for the moment, grab a recipe for this augment. And I think we need a recipe for redstone flux coils as well. And the electrum gears and the lead gears we should have on autocraft. So if we toss these two in here and then say, is it going to find it as an augment? It will. Let's say we want a stack of these. Right? Available lead gears, and it's going to craft a few more, and available electrum plates. So we can start this up and easily get ourselves the flux linkage amplifiers, and we can just toss this over here, which is just going to increase the speed. Nice. And I think we'll do that for all of the plates here. And these guys aren't going to be running very much anyway, so they can be increased as well. And now, after a long journey of getting advanced technium ingots, we're going to insert them into this export bus. So we're going to have a stack always in here. And this guy should auto pull it if I do this. And are you going to make lumium? You are, extremely slowly. Lumium ingots. Awesome. We need a compacting drawer. And now this guy requires power, so we need to hook it up to the XNet network over here. I decided to set the lumium to be only just 100 ingots for now because we're very low on advanced technium already, but over time it should get auto-crafted by itself. But currently the struggle is going to be power. So I'm going to craft a couple of these. I think I can do like 8. That should be good. We're just going to have to craft some lumium gears and it should get done. And we can then go down here to our dynamos, which are currently doing the best they can, outputting 480 RF per tick. And we're just going to do this resonant integral component. So it's going to go from 3 times to 4 times. So these should make 640 RF per tick now. So that is going to be wonderful. And I feel that this is a great wrapping up point for today's episode. I am really hoping you enjoyed today's automation. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. You can also subscribe to get notified of when my new videos and live streams go live. And I will see you all in the next episode. Have a good one. Bye-bye.